Hey, what's up guys? So, if you're watching this video, you're probably looking for a tutorial on how to do this, or you actually watch videos on my channel, which is pretty cool too. Anyways, this is kind of going to be a brief, hopefully not too long, tutorial on just how to edit sunset photos using a kind of faded VSCO Tumblr style, I guess you could describe it as. So, for example, this is a recent photo shoot I just did in Venice Beach with Helga. So shout out to her. I'll put her Instagram on the screen if you want to follow her. Anyways, so I have a lot of the photos here, all the photos here, and all of this was shot on an A7R2 using a Sigma 35mm 1.4 lens with the Sigma MC11 adapter. If you're wondering, well, that is important to this, so you should know. And the SD card I use is a Lexar, but I'm going to get a faster one soon because I just realized mine does not have fast enough write speed. Well, as fast as of one as I'd want to. But anyways, the images turned out pretty good for the most part. This is one of the ones right here that I finished editing, and I really like how it turned out. So you can see it there. Actually, I prefer showing it with the white around it. So there, it's one of my favorite images I've actually ever taken, or portrait-wise for sure. The detail in the A7R2 is pretty incredible in the eyes once it loads on my laptop. Yep. So you can see in the eyes and the face, the detail is insane, and I'm psyched on it. So that I attribute to the A7R2 and the Sigma lens. It's just a great combo. But anyways, what we're going to be talking about is these kinds of shots here, like that, the sunset golden hour kind of photos. Right here we can see a bunch I've taken and haven't edited yet, and I'll show you before and afters on them. Some are edited but not finished being edited. So I think for the ones we're going to do is this one, and let me find another one right here. I'm not going to show one of these because I didn't shoot them properly how I wanted. This one's a good landscape. I'll probably post that soon. Anyways, so that one right here that I talked about, I think we're going to focus on this one mainly. And then I'm just going to re-edit one of these ones, just like the one I showed before. So maybe this one, just from scratch, but I'm going to show you how to edit all of these without using any presets to begin with, or the VSCO presets, anything like that. Just from scratch you can do this. So because I'm already familiar with this one and have been working on it a little bit today, we'll focus on one like this. I know some people are going to say your style is dumb, oh it's overexposed in these areas, things like that. Well, sorry, I'm not a dadtographer who edits everything like this in 3 seconds. Ready. Oh yeah, no, sorry, not the like that. I'm not silly people who shoot and edit like that and claim it's HDR, man. It's so much better. It doesn't look better to me. Sorry. So this is how I shoot, and this is how I edit, and is this the style you're looking for? Well, you've come to the right video. So we'll start from scratch right here. First thing that I like to do that I would recommend is remove chromatic aberration and enable profile connections if you want. I haven't done everything for the Sony and the Sigma yet. If you have Canon, it'll be easier to set that up. Anyways, so first thing that I come to after that is usually I work on the exposure. So I do a little bit of the basic stuff here, and then I'll go to the tone curve right afterwards. So usually what I can tell is right now it's a little dark, obviously, and we want to keep some of the detail in the sky, but we want to not have it super HDR. We want the sky not to be completely blown out at all, but just so it looks like the sun is really shining and hitting. So we're going to bring the exposure up maybe 2, bring the shadows up to maybe 45. And that's also a tip right here too. If you look at your arrow keys, if you tap the up and down, it goes up by 5. Clarity as well. When you bring it up too high, it looks so awful in my opinion, but down too low, it looks very, very dreamy. But so I like to usually go down maybe to 15, 10. I usually wouldn't go past 20 at all on a portrait because it just makes it look too soft. But on this one, I think around 12 would be good. Then the vibrance, you can see the difference between vibrance and saturation. Here, vibrance I like to take down actually a little bit just because it makes the image have a little bit more natural color tone, in my opinion personally. Then highlights here, we're going to bring down to maybe 25, good standard. Same with the whites to maybe 25 as well. We'll leave them there, but we'll come and fix them later, depending on how the tone curve looks. Then I like to place the points kind of like this here, and usually the main way people do it is an S shape right here. So your highlights you bring up and you make this part of the image brighter. You can see how that's working out, and see how her face is getting brighter and brighter, and this here too. And then the big thing to get the fade, obviously you just drag the black all the way up, and there you go, then you have the fade perfectly right there. And then you can just kind of play around with them and make it however you like. So I'm not going to go to spend too much time on this one because we want to show a couple images, and I don't want you guys to have to sit for 20 minutes watching this tutorial. But in the future, if you do want me to do a super ridiculously in-depth one on every single thing you can do to an image, then let me know. So from here, what I personally would do is I would crop it a little bit just to make sure she's in the middle. Bring that down. There we go. I think that looks good. Then right here we can see the you can take the blacks up a little bit if you want. You don't want it to be too contrasty. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to come to the hue, saturation, and luminance. You'll see it as HSL, and this is basically hue. If you don't know what any of this means, well, I'll explain it real brief. The hue changes the color of things, so it changes how the reds look, how the oranges look. And anyways, they look pretty decent to begin with on this image, so we'll go pretty basic. We're going to bring the luminance of the orange up a little bit, maybe 20, and then the red up to probably 55 looks good. And then yellow, you can see the background, so you don't want to lower it really far down, otherwise it looks like a weird image, but too high up, it's a little too bright behind her at that point. So I would keep it around 45 here, and I think it looks a lot better with that kind of brightness in it personally. And then also I take a little bit of the saturation out of the yellow, because you can see if you bring it up, it looks too warm and too glowing, and so we bring it down to 40, maybe 50, and I think it looks good. Red I like to bring up a little bit too, so it can accentuate all the features like your lipstick and things like that. And then the orange as well, you can, if you want to look a little very sorry, I just missed the word I was gonna say. If you want to look very, why do you keep forgetting what I was gonna say? If you don't want it to be very colorful, you can bring the orange down and then get rid of the skin tone, but then you're going to end up being close to black and white. And then you don't want to bring it up too much because it looks very, very cartoonish, so I would bring it down maybe to -10, and then bring this up a little more just to make her face brighter. And then the other colors aren't really much to do with the image. They don't really have much going on in it. What you can do is you can take this thing right here, move it along the image, see where the colors are in it, and you can see it, me moving it around here, it only is red, yellow, and orange that are in the image, and that's all you have to really worry about. And so then you can kind of just play around with the hues however you want. I kind of like them just how they are already, but I know you bring the orange up 1 and the red down 2, then make her skin look more orange, the lipstick more red, and then that makes me want to make this brighter as well. Next, if you want to go back to tone curve 2 and adjust things, you can go into the reds, the greens, and the blues and do them there, and I'll kind of briefly show that. How you can put 3 points or however many you want. You can see the shadows here where it's all black. You can make it red, you can make it green. I personally make it a little bit green on this image, just it keeps kind of that film look in it, and then this will adjust the background, and there, that looks pretty good. And then we can go into the blues as well, and I don't touch the greens as much, and especially I won't really do it right now because we're just doing this as a brief tutorial. Then you can make the background glow a little bit bluish more, so that you keep all the yellow kind of sun ray lights on that part of her face. And then this, keep it kind of straight, is what I'm doing on this image. And then you can go to highlights. This is the same thing. You can pick what color you want the shadows to be. I know on the other one I did kind of a bluish purple like this here, and went up 5 with it. And then the highlights, I think I did kind of an yellowy orange like this, somewhere around here. So I think that was pretty good. Maybe up 5 with that, or actually give it 3. Excuse me. Then you're going to go to your detail, and in the detail here is what's really going to show the quality in the image. So we can see right now how it looks, and it looks pretty good, and you could honestly leave it like that. The detail just makes it even more detailed. So you can see it's the difference between there. It's a little softer, this one's more detailed. Depends on what you want, honestly. I kind of keep them around 75, so it's a little 75, 85, so it's in the middle. Radius you can bring up a little bit, same with the detail. They just add more to it. And then what we can do is now go to adjust individual things. So the big thing I always adjust is people's eyes, especially with models in the shots. So I have a preset here for them. Eyes 2 is just what I named it. Is the second one I made. And you can see exposure goes up a full 1, shadows are 80, whites are 20, clarity 10. And you can see I just drag it over her eyes, and just a little bit over the eyelashes, and you can just see how it pops way more afterwards. Now you can see on this eye it didn't look good doing it. It looks more glassy, so just undo, I forget what the hotkey for it is, and just make a new one on this eye. And then you'll see how, same thing, it was too glassy. Bring it down the shadows a little bit. We could try them at 40, maybe this at 30, and you can even try putting some contrast into it, so maybe 35. And then we'll zoom out a little bit, and you could just see how much her eyes pop compared to before. This one even you could bring up more to 100. Bring that up higher, maybe this to 55. Whatever you want to make it look however you want it to look. So then the last thing that I would come to, which actually you should do more during the HSL stage, but I'm just kind of doing them in order here, is the camera calibration. And this is when you use presets, it'll usually come with these obviously preset to the camera profile for those. And you can pick ones here from the ones Adobe has. I don't recommend doing that because it makes they just suck. So these ones here, if you want to know, people do teal and orange. You just kind of drag it down. You can't really tell in this image because of other adjustments I've made and the colors that aren't in it. But here you can tell how, see, it makes it brighter, or you can make it darker. So this one, I kind of like going down just slightly with it. Maybe on this one we'll go -7. The greens here, I kind of like where they're at already. You could just maybe, you could take the saturation up or down on this. I would go down just 5, just a little bit. And then here's the yellow, or sorry, the reds and the oranges. And I'd probably go up to just 5 on this one. Maybe 5 on the bottom as well too. And then now her face is looking a little more orange than I want it to, but the colors are nice, so then I would just go back to the luminance and bring it up. Same with the yellow in the background, maybe make it 65. And there we go. Then you could see the before and after. Not everyone will like it this style, but I'm a big fan of it. You could make the fade more if you want it to be like that. That looks good too. And then you could see the difference just between this one and the one I've done before. I honestly kind of like the one that I just made now a little bit better. I'm not gonna lie. That's surprising for me because I usually like to stick to the presets I use a lot, but this one right here that I made before is just critiquing it now. All I can say is it looks a little too pink and red here, and this one has a little bit nicer of colors, so I might go back and fix this one, take out the red and the shadows and stuff, which I can even show you what I'd do right now to do that. All I would do is go here, camera calibration, bring this up to maybe -5, and then this one here, see how that fixes it, bring it to -10, and then let's see the difference here. Yeah, then I think this one looks pretty solid now. Honestly, I'll fix it later, but then what I would suggest doing is go to your other images that are similar. You just copy all the settings that you used, and where was that other image? It is over here somewhere. This one right here. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to paste these on it, the settings, and you can see how it looks pretty good to begin with. Actually, already I kind of am loving this image too. I think I might post this one as well. And you can just see how it looks a little too red here, and just fix that. Then I sometimes just bring all the luminances down so I can readjust them. Bring this one up maybe to 35. This one we could bring to like 80 I think looks good, 85. And then the red, I don't really want to bring up very much, maybe just to 20. And then I think it looks pretty solid. The only thing I do for this one is the fade is a little intense on it, so I would just bring this down a little bit, because if you bring it down too much it looks weird. If you have the fade up too high, it looks too much like a block in some cases. So I'm going to just bring it down to there. I think it looks good. And then I'm going to add some grain, not because I want it to look via film camera. Oh my god, you're faking film cameras. No, but if you look right here in the shadows, you can see how smooth this looks right now. And then if I add the grain like that, it breaks it up just a little bit. So I usually go 7 or 8. And then for the amount, size 30, roughness 80. And then I think that looks a little better. And then we go to the reds here, and I'm going to make this just a little bit more red because it was very green before. Then same here, we're going to make it a little more green in the middle stage, and then the top stage we're going to do kind of like a, there we go, a little in between. So you can see some people obviously want to keep that color. Me personally, I'm not as big of a fan of it. But then here in the luminance too, you can grab the blues. You can see the sky if you want. I'd probably bring it down to here with the sky maybe. I think that would look good. And then I know I moved this up before, but I'm kind of thinking of keeping it more in the middle, so around, actually no, probably 70 I think would look good. And then you can see how that one turns out, and I really like that one. I think I'm going to post this one as well too, so go follow me on Instagram, check them out. Yeah, should be up probably by the time I post this video on YouTube. 1 or 2 of these will be posted on my Instagram. Last thing also you can do is drag a fuck, I forgot what these are called. Anyways, you could drag one of these things and make the corners darker, like a vignette, which sometimes I like to do. And these ones especially, and behind it's a little darker, and you can see the color and how it fades. This one, I'm actually loving how this photo turned out even more than the other. So I think I'm going to post this one too for sure. Yeah, check me on Instagram if you have any more